Adolf Coors was born in the Rhine province of Prussia in 1847. At the age of 15, he apprenticed for 3 years at a local brewery. By the age of 20, he immigrated to the United States as an undocumented stowaway. He moved from New York to Chicago, where he took up a job as a brewer in 1868. 4 years later, he moved to Denver, bought a partnership with a bottling firm, and by the end of the year, controlled the entire business. In 1874, he started the Golden Brewery with Jacob Schuler, and by 1880 renamed it the Adolf Coors Golden Brewery. Now owned by Molson Coors Brewing Company, Coors has been around for over 100 years. But is it worth keeping stocked? Find out now on Two Dudes Reviews. What up, guys? Yeah, today we've got some good old Coors Banquet beer. And I've got to admit, I have not had the actual just straight Coors non-light version it's been a while. So I'm looking forward to it, and so let's just get right into the pouring. Let's see if this is... Yeah, at first I wasn't sure if it was going to require a bottle opener. I gotta admit, I love the stubby bottle. I really like the throwback stuff that some of the larger breweries are getting into. I think it'd be kind of cool almost if they did some of the cans with the pull top back on it, but I don't know if that screws with how tight the bottle is, and so I don't know. But yeah, dig the stubby bottle. And alright, let's get into the review and let's get into the smell. It has that corn kind of crispness to it. Where, if you weren't sure, back during World War II, a lot of the major breweries switched to use corn instead of like the other wheat and other cereal grains because it was cheaper, and a lot of the other grains had to go to the war effort. And once a lot of the places started doing that, you got like the soldiers and everybody back at home getting used to rice and corn based beers, and so they pretty much just wrote it out. And that's why a lot of the beers, Budweiser, Coors, stuff like that, use that kind of cereal within the beer. But anyways, back to the review. Sorry for that little tidbit. But you definitely have that kind of corn malty aroma to it. Little lemon zesty. A slight peppery to it. Nothing, not crazy, but you got that little hint of kind of spice. But I mean, for a very cheap mass-produced beer, it doesn't smell that bad, and so I'm going to recommend it on the smell for, when you're comparing it to other large mass-produced beers. But alright, let's get into the taste. Again, you've got you do have that corn flavor, subtle bitterness to it. It's kind of slightly watery on the front end, and the flavor really kind of takes off towards the back end. There is a bit of an aftertaste I'm not a huge fan of. It kind of lingers in your mouth, and it's not the best. Yeah, most of the flavor comes in the back end. When it hits your tongue, you don't get a whole lot. Maybe a little bit of the lemon zesty bit, but it's more of the corn and the cereal grains and a bit of that pepperiness towards the back end. What you're made of matters, according to the Banquet bottle cap. I mean,
this isn't not something I would necessarily turn to drink that frequently. I know when I was, when you're in your college age and you're going through a lot of the light beer, just whatever you can get for super cheap, I'd always kind of go towards the Coors Light. I always like Coors Light over the other stuff. But, for flavor, it's not terrible for what it is. But there's something on the tail end that I'm just not totally digging. So I'm not gonna not recommend it. I'm just gonna give it a half because it's okay. There's something on that back end that I wish if it could just tweak a little bit, then it'd be like, all right, I could get along with this. So yeah, I'll just give it a half of that. Okay, next category is value for price, and it's a cheap macro beer, and so you're gonna be able to buy these things for cheap. So you're not going to find a whole lot of beers for less than what you're paying for these kinds of things. And so, yes, I will recommend it for value for price. All right, next category is distinction. How distinct is it? And, so you're always going to have the people that can pinpoint the difference between Miller and Budweiser and Coors. Generally speaking, though, there's not a whole lot of difference. It's like, there's some difference between Coke and Pepsi, but they're both very similar. One's just slightly sweeter. For this kind of thing, they're using corns and rice, which is used because it's cheap, it's easy to use, and it keeps the price of production down. And that's why a lot of these taste like this. And it's actually why a lot of people coming into the United States, either visiting or moving whatever from like Europe, whatever, where they don't use corn like that, they often find American beers to be really, really bad just because they don't use corn in their stuff. So, you have more similarities actually with the macro American beers as you would find in like Asian beers, where there's a lot of rice-based beers, and that's just because the grains and everything used is more similar to the Asian style than European styles necessarily. Even though a lot of these are actually originally based on German and Vienna lagers, and of course Pilsners from the Czech Republic, but they didn't really use as much corn and rice and that stuff. But in terms of distinction, there's really not that much distinction between those mass-produced cereal. Those mass-produced corn and rice beers. So I won't recommend it for distinction. All right, next category is drinkability, and as long as it's kept cold. As long as it's kept cold, it's not a problem. Once these kinds of beers start getting warmer, you're kind of in trouble. But as long as it's cold, it's fine. So yeah, I'll recommend it on drinkability. And all right, last category is would I buy it again? And to be quite frank, probably not. I'm sure this will not be the very last time I have Coors Banquet beer. Let's be honest. But there's just really no reason for me to ever really buy it. Just to be honest, there's really no reason to buy it. If I'm getting beer, I'll pay an extra $1 or whatever. This is one of those kinds of beers that I'll drink it if I'm with other people and that's kind of like what they're drinking. But yeah, so realistically, I won't recommend it I just won't buy it again, most likely. But yeah, so that is my review for Coors Banquet beer. Let me know what you think of Coors. Are there other of the macro beers that you'd like better than this? Or yeah, just let me know what you think. If you could like and subscribe, that'd be great. YouTube's changing all their algorithms and there's a lot of stuff going on with YouTube. So subscriptions are very appreciated, and if you could, that'd be fantastic. It'd help me out a lot. But anyways, so for myself and for Coors Banquet beer, take it easy.